What's up, y'all? I'm back with another video, and in this video, I just wanted to, expand on a few things that I felt like I left out in my previous video. All right, so I'm gonna just begin by reading the definition of a Moor. Now, this is an online etymology definition. So, all right, so being a dark people in relation to Europeans, their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro. So, to let you know right there that in the Middle Ages, Moor is a synonym for Negro. And it says later used indiscriminately of Muslims, so Persians, Arabs, etc., but especially those in India. So pretty much what you can gather from here is that a Moor was pretty much anyone who was Negro and anybody who was non-Christian, because not everybody was a Muslim, and I don't think there was that many Muslims in India at the time as well. So let me show y'all a drawing or an engraving that I came across. Now, this is a portrait of a young black boy, and as you will notice, he's holding a bow and an arrow, a bow and arrow. And let's look at the summary, the description. So, the description reads, the Moor, or Negro, accompanied by a rhyme. The Moor, equipped with bow and arrow, keeps an eye on enemies or wild animals. And it says Netherlands. And the date is 1648, between 1648 and 1658. All right, and let's look at the author, the engraver of this drawing, a Dutch engraver, Cornelius Vischer. So he's Dutch, and this was around the time that, like I said, the Dutch was in North America and had their territory called New Netherlands. All right, now the reason why this drawing is so important is because when you think about it, and thinking about the term Moor or Negro or Moor specifically, you cannot apply this drawing to any of these group of people. I mean, no Muslim was dressing like this. This is not how a Muslim looked back in those days. Another thing is the weapons you see he's using. This is the 1600s. Around that time, all those groups of people in India, in the Middle East, North Africa, those Muslims, Persians, or whatever, they were using firearms. They had gunpowder. The bow and arrow became obsolete. This is the 1600s. Most of those places already had gunpowder by like the 14th century, 15th century. Now, let me move on. I'm gonna show y'all more depictions because this is the depiction of a Negro or Indigenous American in North America. This is what they would call an Indian. As you can see, bow and arrow, Moor in Amsterdam. I showed y'all this in my previous video. This is a Moor in Amsterdam. This is them depicting what they saw when they came over here to North America. Another depiction right here. Now this one, look at that. The same posture, the same pose. Bow and arrow, America. And this is a book on the voyages. Now all these sources, all these artifacts I'm showing y'all was created during those days and those time periods in the 1600s when they was exploring the New World, the so-called New World. Look at this. German pharmacy, tobacco store, Indian statue, 1624. This is in 1624. That early in the game. And look, this is a black man, but the title reads German Pharmacy Tobacco Store Indian Statue. German tobacco Indian depiction of a Native American. As you can see, this is what they depicted. This is what they depicted when they came over here. American Indian. Black man. Now, like I said, this is what they saw. So I don't have to lie. I don't have to make up, I don't have to make up anything. So for those coming on my channel talking about I'm a fraud and I'm this and that and I'm just lying, or that y'all want to say black people are not indigenous to America, show me your sources. Show me what you can bring to the table before you come talking that nonsense. Because I've done my research. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and move on and, talk about the Wampanoag a little bit, or King Philip's War. So this book right here is published in 1676, and it pretty much gives you like a brief of the war and like what they came across and what happened. Now, I just want to give y'all like an idea of how large a village was and how small a village was. Now, one of these villages that they came across had 1,500 wigwams. Now, one wigwam can house like what, 3 to 5 people. Now, if you do the math on that, this pretty much this fort or village had what, 6 to 7,000 people, and look, 4,000 fighting men. So this is not including women and children. So yeah, I can put the number around what, 6 to 7,000. Here's another village. 150 of their wigwams they set fire to. So they burned 150. They burned a village of 150 wigwams. Now that village population size would have been around what, 6 to 700. But they let me move on. I'm gonna move on. Let me see. Boom, boom. 700 Indians. 700 Moors. Alright. Now, I was reading, like I was on Wikipedia, and I noticed that, they're pretty much boosting up the numbers of people that were slain in the war. Like when it came to like the Indians, and when it came to the amount of people that died on the English side as well, or the English side. But I noticed that right here they had 3,000, and right here they had 3,400. Remember this book right here, published in 1676, and they listed what, 4,000 people, 4,000 warriors. But this one on Wikipedia, I use Wikipedia as a secondary source. My primary sources will always be artifacts, artifacts and books and drawings and paintings that were created in those time periods. I really don't use Wikipedia like that, but I just use it as a general basis to get a general understanding. Then I go to the primary source. Now, they have the casualties at 3,000. And on this page, they have it at 5,000. I'm just showing y'all this because give you an idea how they pretty much, like I said, they boost up the numbers to account for the population of Native American or the Indigenous Americans. And what really happened was that many of them were just sold into slavery and enslaved, and that was the disease that killed off the Native Americans or the Indigenous Americans in this territory, in this area. And also you'll notice, like after the war, they pretty much they used the women and children as slaves, and they sent many of the men into slavery. And also, I had to go back because I remember I just forgot. Yeah, this book says that the amount of people that died was 910, and the amount of Christians that died was 444. So I mean, but the last date on here is May 28, 1676, and the war ended in what, August 1676. So 3 months time difference. I feel like, yeah, a lot more people could have died in that time. So the amount of people that died would have been higher. But go back on topic. When you read that the women and children were kept as slaves, you got to look at the definition of a squaw, because this is pretty much what happened. They married into the tribes. When they took the women as slaves or as wives, but pretty much they probably took them as slaves and made them their wives. So they wifed them up, and some of them probably produced mulatto kids, and 100 years later, those mulatto kids, had babies and pretty much the Indians don't look like how they used to, or the indigenous people don't look like how they used to. Because when you look at the culture of the Wampanoag, you'll understand that they had a matrilineal system, which means that everything was inherited through the women. So they sent the men into slavery. They sold them. They sent them to the West Indies and all over the place, Virginia, all over, and they kept the women and the children as slaves in New England, and that's what happened here. So the depopulation of the indigenous American in that territory was slavery, pretty much. They didn't really kill off everyone. Like, everyone did not die like how they're claiming. You know, if there was some kind of genocide, but it was mostly slavery was what happened. Now, I'm gonna go over the slave population or the black population, because I feel like I'm gonna have a few of these fools, these ignorant fools, come on my channel talking about um, you know, that I'm lying and that, you know, black people, the Africans came here and they joined the tribes or whatever. You know, that's not what happened. No, no, the Africans did not join any tribes. All right, you know, they didn't run away and marry an Indian wife and, you know, became an Indian. Because like I showed y'all, those depictions of indigenous people date back to the 1600s. So that's far before before they even started bringing Africans over here like that in those numbers. Now look, the amount of people they say that they brought over here in the northern U.S. part, which is, you know, New York and all that area, is 33,102, and the amount deported is 26,955. So basically 27,000. So do the difference between that. That's like what, 6,000 absolute number of slaves that they kept in that area. Now I could put the population, you know, if they have like a positive population growth, what I feel like over 100-year period, they can probably grow to what, 10 to 12,000, because, you know, you gotta factor in deaths as well. And like I said, or like they said, they deported 26,000 or 27,000. So they were deporting people over those time periods, and they were importing people. So as a so if you think about it, really the population would have been, you know, less than at least 15,000. But here you have the black population at 53,000. And look, they divided the 1790 census. It divides it into two categories: slaves and free non-white. 40,000, 26,000. All right. So this is what they have here listed, and, you know, these numbers do not add up. They don't. This is 40,000 slaves, more than what they have claimed to brought in. Because you also got to remember that they deported people and imported people at the same time. So yeah, like I said, and you have 26,000 free non-whites. Now, Native Americans were not included on the census until 1860. Now, and that reason that is I don't know why, but, you know, most of the time, indigenous people stayed on the reservation. Like, if they stayed on the reservation or whatever, on the land or within the tribe land, that they were not included in the census, you know, within the European society census. But if you was in the all white town or in the city or whatever, then you're going to be listed as Negro, Black, Colored. All right, and this is what really happened. And you can see, the next you know, they have a population of pretty much 100,000 people. 1820. Now remember, only 30,000 was brought from throughout the years. All right, so as you can see, even the numbers do not add up, you know. And I'm gonna end this video short for y'all, because, like I said, like, all the evidence is there. Like, all this stuff is documented. All of it.
Here is the answer. 3 generations. Half-blood grandmother, quadroon daughter, octoroon grandson. Now, as you can see, in the 3rd generation, or 3rd cross, no trace of native origin is apparent. The continuing infiltration of white blood finally stamps out the black color. The Aboriginal has simply been bred out.
You're an Indian? Well, yes. But you're black? Yes. But you're an Indian? Yes. But, so, how much Indian blood do you have?
There are people who even ask me, are you Indian? You don't look like the Indians that I know. Well, okay, fine. I don't look like your stereotypical Indian that's riding on a horse with a bonnet in the plains, and I'm not from that anyway.
What is your name?
Robert from the 3rd.
And what school do you go to?
Haley Elementary School.
And that's located in?
Boston.
Okay. Now, question, you were saying something about your teacher said that we were all Indians, or you're Indian?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We were learning about Wampanoags, and Wampanoags are Indian too. They had feathers on their heads just like you did.
Okay, so they didn't tell you anything about being from Africa or anything. The school was teaching that you was an Indian, and...
Well, they teach us more different things.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they taught us like we were Indians too.
Oh, okay.
But it was rude to say Indians because it was disrespectful to them. So we call us African Americans.
Oh, okay.
But it was rude to say Indians because it was disrespectful to them. So we call us African Americans.
Oh, okay. But you know for a fact that they told you that you were the original Indians?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And tell me your name again?
Robert from the 3rd, and I go to Haley Elementary School located in Boston.
All right.